Merv Griffin is not only a world-class entertainer, he is also among the most successful businessmen in the whole world with hotels, resorts, and TV programming. Thanks for joining us tonight, Merv, and welcome back to CBS.
This is what you look like in person.
This is how I look in person.
Why did we never meet?
Why
did you refuse to meet me?
Oh, come on. I told you that I saw you, was it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Why did you copy my hair?
I don't have any choice.
You saw me what?
I saw you on NBC in the afternoon when you first got, I think, your first chat show, first talk show.
Yeah,
I mean, you were a singer, but you were trying to get into talk, right?
Well, no, I had replaced Parr on a couple of nights.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then NBC gave me the show at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the same. I had the same opening day that Carson did, October the 1st, 1962, and in the same studio. I would do mine at 12 noon.
6B.
Yeah, 6B. Yeah. But it would broadcast at 2, and then Carson came in later on. But in those days, he and I didn't speak, and we were very competitive and really tough.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine you being that competitive that you wouldn't speak to a fellow performer.
Well, you see, I had a record of doing guest interviews with stars because I had done Parr so many times during the summer. Before Carson took over, I did like 3 or 4 weeks in the summer. And so I knew a lot of them, and they were comfortable. In those days, stars were nervous about trusting their lives to somebody new. Johnny had come out of a game show, and although they kind of knew him, he was new at it, doing those kind of interviews. Mm-hmm. So I got all the good guest stars, and he wasn't getting them at night.
Uh-oh.
So hate set in. But we're great friends now, and you know his brother's been with me, Dick, for years.
Oh, sure, years and years and years.
Does Wheel of Fortune.
But what about transition from singer to talk show host? You wanted to be on television, and didn't you forego singing for a time?
I did. I sat in an apartment in New York, and then people would call and they'd say, Merv, we have a waterfall in the prop department, and they said, you know some. I said, oh yeah, I know all the waterfall songs, you know. And I was like a utility singer. If they had a palm tree, I could get behind the palm tree and give them a great palm tree song. And then I said, there's no future in that, you know.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk, but in those days, singers. Don't ever let a singer talk. They were death at the box office. And so I just sat in my apartment and waited for the phone. Nobody called for a year, you know. Finally got this show on CBS in the morning, early on Sunday morning, called Look Up and Live, and I was the host. And I would read it off the teleprompter. Yes, today we have the Reverend so-and-so from the Protestants, you know.
Oh, it was all religion then?
All religion. And Sidney Poitier was the actor on it. He would act out the Bible, and then they had ballet dancers. They would dance the Bible. And Mahalia Jackson was on a lot.
Okay.
But I would sit there, and one morning I was saying this whole great speech about religion and lives and God, and suddenly the teleprompter went with all my ad libs, you know, and I went, "Isn't that right, your Reverend?" He said, "Isn't what right?" And I said, "Weren't you listening?" Live, you know, terrible.
And then then when I next caught up with you, I was working for Group W in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I was a newscaster for KYW-TV. Mike Douglas was doing his show there.
Right.
And you came on from, I believe, New York City for Group W, for Westinghouse. Right. And all of a sudden, there you were with Arthur Treacher and with Merriman Smith and Elsa Lancaster and all. You built this wonderful family of people on television on that show. It was wonderful television.
It was excellent. They were all raconteurs. You know, you can't do that anymore. I mean, this is the only television spot in America left now where we can sit down and talk because the attention span is gone. People have those clickers, you know, and if you don't accomplish what you're going to do in a minute and a half, they go,
you're gone.
You know, give me another beer, click. And so people can't tell stories anymore. There's no more stories.
Yeah, no more time.
No.
But in the afternoon.
Or if you're telling a story and they run a picture across your face, you know, and horses going.
I was watching one day.
I got out just in time, thank you, God.
Yeah. What did you say? You got out just in time?
Just in time.
Oh, stop it. Don't you miss it every now and again?
No, because I do it. But I do it live now, like at resorts in Atlantic City. I have the hotel and the casino there. So I write, along with these two people, producers, choreographers, everything. Manami and Thomas, we do the shows. We write them, and then all these people come in and act them and dance them, and they play for 1 year, big productions.
Can I ask you a question? The casino business is a good business to be in, isn't it?
It's cute, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was once talking to Trump, not to mention, and I don't mean to bring up anything adversarial here, but Trump.
That's not adversarial.
No, this was 10 years
Trump
ago,
who?
and he had just, Trump who? He had just gotten into the casino business, you know, in Atlantic City, maybe 10, 12 years ago. And he talked about what's called the money room. You would know what this is. Sure. Yeah.
Counting room.
Yeah, and he said that they had to have forklift trucks to lift the pallets of change and of money and to stack them. And that the biggest problem that they had in the counting room, coins were no problem because machines would count those and sort them. But paper money, they had no machinery to sort the paper
And they
money.
wear gloves, and I'm not allowed in there, even though I own the place.
Really?
I'm not allowed in there unless I applied for a pass to the Gaming Commission to go in. I can go in the security room and watch them because their hands and they are on camera at all times. But I couldn't go into that room.
Why is that?
Because
Against
you're
the
just
Gaming
not allowed
Commission?
to.
Oh, okay. But they have to sort all the paper money by hand.
When resorts opened, we were the only one on the boardwalk, and people stood in line. They paid to get in, and gaming is much different in Atlantic City than it is in Las Vegas. In other words, with 12 hotels, casinos, we do the same amount of revenues that 120 or whatever they are in Las Vegas do. That's how big gaming
Well, but then
is.
look at the population reach that you have in
53
Atlantic City.
million
Of course, all
can
the
drive
biggest,
there
yeah,
and
the biggest
do.
cities in America are a drive away from Atlantic City.
Right. So it's a different kind of business. When it opened, they didn't have time to count the money, so they kept plugging it into barrels. And suddenly the Gaming Commission walked in, and there were literally hundreds of barrels filled with money. And they said, you have to count this. If you don't count this, we're going to shut you down. Because they want their piece, you know.
Of course,
the
of
state
course.
wants
Yeah,
there, and that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had to bring in bank tellers off hours, and they counted and counted while it was all going on upstairs.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I mean, think of
I
how
can believe it.
But I mean, going back to when you were on the religion show.
Yeah.
What did you get? $119 a show?
And I used to talk about don't gamble. Hey, but you'll laugh because you see, the Protestants had that show for 6 months, and the Catholics had 6 months, and then Jews would come in, and they'd had 6 months. Okay, I by accident was the host for the. I guess it wasn't 6 months; it was shorter than
3
that.
months, a quarter. Yeah.
I by accident was the host of the Protestants. So when the Catholics came in, the producer wanted to keep me on. He said, "Oh, Father," he said, or Monsignor, "this is terrific. Merv is a Catholic." And he said, "You better say his prayers." I didn't get the Catholic part. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, but let me take you back to the counting room for a second.
Oh, you're hung up.
No. I remember when gambling was going in Atlantic City, and you had to apply to the Gaming Commission to get a license. And you had to demonstrate that you had the financial wherewithal to support a casino. So a bunch of us sent a proposal in, and they said, we said, if you'll just give it to us for a year, we will have the financial wherewithal.
I did the same thing and got it. No, I'd had sold Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, so in those days I had a couple of bucks. And so I was all right going in there.
Yeah.
And then Trump sold me. Oh, that's the most confusing story in the world. But we were at loggerheads, and we knocked each other around.
All's well that ends well. Like you and Johnny, you're great friends
That's
now.
right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, I don't hang out with Trump. In fact, I haven't seen him since the deal. Since we both turned and went at the same time, you know.
With Merv and all of you on the toll-free exchange at 800-952-2788. We'll be right back after these messages.
Call in, Don.